Hafide, and welcome back to the link. We are going to head straight into the Zoom room to talk with our next guest. He is the Chief of Police, Steve Ignacio. Good morning, Steve.
Hi, morning, Bree. Morning, Chris. Hafide.
I want to just start right out the box with last night, that fire in Umatac.
Yes. So I just received a notice this morning that last night at about 11:50 p.m., the officers from Agate Precinct were called to a structure fire, which they later determined was, upon arrival, they determined it was the residence where this homicide that occurred, or I'm sorry, the death that occurred regarding the former mayor, Daniel Sanchez. So I'll be talking to the fire chief and see if he has his arson investigators to go back to the scene, or if they were on scene last night to conduct the arson investigation and determine, what was the cause of the fire. I do know that we did. I believe we were done with the evidence collection at the scene and all that. So that's all I have available for right now.
So was there still police tape that was up, or there was no police tape around this area?
I'm not sure, but I can check with our criminal investigation division. But as far as I know, I believe we were done with the scene because if we're holding a scene, and because we believe that it contains evidence, and we're not done with evidence collection, then usually what we do is we put a stationary. What that means is that we leave officers at the crime scene until we're done executing warrants, or until we're done collecting evidence. And, we have no need any longer for the scene.
You said you were going to be requesting if GFD has sent or is going to send, or you want them to send arson investigators down to that site?
No, I believe that's a standard protocol for the fire department. So I'll be reaching out to Fire Chief Dan Stone and find out, if there were any findings regarding the fire.
I see. What's your gut feeling, though? Do you think somebody intentionally set that place ablaze?
I'm not sure, Bree. I mean, we rely on physical evidence, and the evidence tells us, if it was intentional or not.
But it certainly is a coincidence.
And I think most people can assume that, but again, we don't work on assumptions. We work on evidence of crimes if they occur.
And just for further clarification, this particular house where the former mayor's body was found, that is the home of Rudy Caneta, one of the suspects?
That is my understanding. That is where he was residing at the time.
And he was living with Joyner Scott Sked, that house?
I believe, she a frequent, if not a resident with Rudy, then she's a frequent visitor or occupant of that residence.
Do you have any other information regarding this particular case as to what happened or why they may have allegedly murdered the former mayor?
No, Bree. As a matter of fact, when I spoke to CID yesterday, they were still actively investigating that case. Even though an arrest was made, there's still work that has to be done. There's still interviews for family members, friends, associates that have to be completed. And so it's by no means a closed case yet. Yeah.
Okay. I also wanted to follow up on the Jerry's Kitchen investigation. When we had Paul on earlier this week, he said that the findings from Highway would be forwarded to you. Do you have any update?
Yeah, so actually, I had the case forwarded to me so that I could have it delivered over to the AG's office, and they're reviewing the case. Throughout this Jerry's Kitchen, we went on a fact-finding mission at first, to find out, if there's any things that we need to know about the case other than what was being reported on the traffic accident report. Throughout this investigation, I have always kept the Attorney General's office and his prosecution team informed of our findings. And so, I've had a couple of meetings with them as we worked on this case So I did forward all the initial findings that we had up until this past Monday. I delivered a copy of the report to them, but I was just as recent as yesterday, I was informed that there was an additional interview that was going to be conducted sometime this week. So I'm looking forward to that interview and seeing if there's any additional information that we have. But it's still an active investigation.
I see. Has any officer or the responding officer, are they still reporting for work? Has any action or anything been taken against any officer that was involved with this? Or you can't really
No,
do
so
anything?
all of the findings, if there was any findings that I felt would rise to the level that I would need to conduct an internal affairs investigation and place officers on administrative leave, I definitely would have done that already. Mm-hmm. But nothing that I have yet, rises to that level. But, again, I still continue to coordinate and communicate with the AG's office so that we can report our findings to them. And, we continue to work on, moving forward with the Jerry's Kitchen. But it's by no means a done case. Mm-hmm. Like I said, as recent as yesterday, I was informed that an additional interview was going to be done. And so, it's still something that's actively being investigated.
Why are you forwarding it to the AG's office?
Because, we have some information that we're coordinating with them. And so, like I said, we don't want to talk too much about ongoing investigations. Suffice to say that we've been working with them.
Is that typical for an imprudent driving case?
No, but like I said, we didn't have any information other at the beginning. But as the investigation unfolded, we've developed more information, and that's the purpose of investigations.
So there was more information stemmed from a ticket for imprudent driving at Jerry's Kitchen when somebody plowed into this private restaurant that has prompted the AG to kind of work with you guys.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't want to elaborate because, mm-hmm. It's still an active investigation. So, Bri, at some point, investigations come to an end. And at that point, when the investigation is completed, then, we can release more information.
Oh, okay. I'm glad you said that because it's kind of a different story when it comes to the Chamorro Land Trust Commission. But anyway, there's some bills that are before the Guam legislature. Mm-hmm. One was earlier this week, I believe, on Monday, regarding this whole bill to legalize silencers and noise reduction. I don't know, pieces that you put on to a gun. I'm not a gun person, or mufflers, whatever you call them. What is the GBD's position on this bill?
So I have an initial draft of our position, and I just met yesterday with our firearms examiners. They're the experts in this field. Mm-hmm. So, as we look across the country and we look at and we do some research as to the effect on our island, I see that over 40 states, I believe, is it 40 or 42 states, allow the use of suppressors. And what they do is they just reduce the noise. And, and talking to my firearms experts, what was presented to the legislature, I had another meeting, so I couldn't provide our testimony that day. But, I actually went back and I listened to the testimony that was provided by those that came out to testify in favor of the bill. And, what they reported, is the same thing that I found out from my firearms experts, and I have two within the department, that, all suppressors do is they minimize the noise level. And, I guess it's appropriately called the Hearing Protection Act, for those who are avid gun enthusiasts. And so, 40 plus states, authorize it. That's just probably, 80% of the country. And so, I am inclined possibly to, it looks like I'm probably going to put a letter of support for this bill. But, one of the things that, we do know through, the research and the process that, it's a highly regulated item that's used as an attachment to a firearm. And, you go through a background check and you fill out a process and go get approval from ATF. And so, my proposal to that is we're looking at, whether or not we should also then require that we register these suppressors on island to an owner, and possibly maybe even to a firearm that they intend to use it on. Right. So we're looking at that, and we're exploring what other jurisdictions are doing and seeing if they require, because you go through a stringent process of being vetted by the ATF, to possess suppressors, and so and even I think one of the people that testified, said that Guam has one of the more strict gun laws on that they're aware of. People are required to have a firearms ID, and firearms are mandated to be registered in Guam. And so we're one actually of very few jurisdictions that have this mandate in place. And then I think that goes, to making sure that, we know where guns are at in our community and in whose hands they get into.
Okay, so that's probably, you're looking into that, and that it might be a recommendation that you might make to the legislature. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so it's just possibly offering an amendment that we require that they be registered as well, just like any other firearm.
Okay. There was another bill, and I think it was just in the past couple of days it was introduced as well. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this, and it deals with the concealed firearms that, there's certain areas where you're not allowed to bring in a gun, the courts and a couple other areas. Now they're trying to add on, which I was surprised it's not already on the list, is police precincts. I would think that would be something that you would support.
Yeah, so I've actually asked. I've asked that. I asked my legal officer to look into that, and we did come up with some guidance. But yeah, you're right. The law as currently written identifies specific places, and one of them was a courthouse, because I always wondered, what authority do other branches of government have to what did they use, legal authority they use to have you surrender your firearm when you come in. And so courthouses are known as places where you do that. And we found out that police precincts are one of those places that are not listed. However, if you take the holding facility or a jail, a jail is listed. So all police precincts have jails, so we can apply that to our situation. But I think sometimes when the law is not clear or is vague, then you go and you request to amend the law so that it becomes very clear where it is and isn't allowed. One of the places and sometimes my officers ask, I go into Civil Service Commission, and we're not allowed to carry firearms, and so I don't know if they're going to be part of that that request to amend the law, but we abide by it. It's a requirement that they have. So whether or not it's legal or lawful, we still abide by it. We're all in the same government.
Yeah. Of course, I'm going to follow up on the online gambling. Anything new?
No, nothing new. I'm still waiting for feedback, I guess, from Secret Service, and that's still an ongoing investigation, a federal ongoing investigation. Like I said, in the past, I still don't know the extent, and I don't know what information they all have. And I'm sure at some point when they're ready to move, and we'll learn more. We'll probably learn more of the same things at the same time.
All right. I think we're. You have anything else that you'd like to get out?
What's going on, Chief?
Oh, not much going on. It's just we come in every day and do what we need to do. But I'd like to thank you all for having me on your show. I'd like to thank my officers again, for doing what they do, coming in and day out, and keeping our community safe. And tonight we have a meeting with first meeting I think in a very long time. We're meeting with our neighborhood watch program area commanders at Sinanya. at I believe 6 p.m. So I was excited to go back out and see our neighbor watch groups, and continue the good work that we're doing in collaboration with them.
And is this going to be with all the watch commanders or just in Onia?
Well, no, I believe it's the island-wide block commanders or captains, and of course, in keeping with guidelines, I think it's going to, of course, be less than 50 people.
Sarge, I wanted to, Sarge, Chief. Sorry, you're used to having Sergeant Tapao on.
You just demoted.
I know.
Sometimes it's still early at 9:30 in the morning.
Yeah. Now, Chief, I wanted to follow up because I reached out to the mother of Michael Castro. He's been missing since October last year. Has there been any new information or any developments in that case?
No, but that is a very active investigation. Believe it or not, I know it's been a while, but we still stay in touch with the missing person's mom, and we do keep her abreast of what's going on. But that is a very active investigation, and until such time, we determine otherwise, we still treat it as a missing person because that's how it was initially reported, and that's how we treat it as is because we haven't found him or any other information to prove that something else happened other than being missing.
Right. Did you guys anticipate brakes when his vehicle was discovered? Did you think that could have been a point where something could have come down?
No, Chris, I can't say any more beyond that, really, honestly.
And then I was also reaching out to the family of Juan Ogan, who was shot in Manilao a couple Christmases back. Is there an update on that case too, Chief?
No, I don't have an update on that. Yeah, I wasn't aware we were going to talk about that. Yeah, okay. Unfortunately.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
You guys are planning for Police Week, right? Isn't it next month?
No, no. So what happened is we were planning to do something in May, but I just received an email, or I'm sorry, a story was sent to me that the National Police Week has been moved to October. October 14, 15, and 16. And that was done by the organizations, the nonprofit organizations that host, that usually plan out the National Police Week events. And so they've shifted everything to the right all the way up until October. So, in keeping in line with the national celebration, I've decided also to shift our celebration to the right, to October, to be in line with the national celebration as well.
Okay. Before we let you go, I did want to follow up on something because we've heard it from other law enforcement agencies, and this is related to the COVID differential pay. Different law enforcement agencies are behind in making those payments. Is GPD up to date?
I was, as of last week, I was all the way up to January 30th. So that means I only have February and March to pay. My overtime, I believe, is up until February 16th. And we may have, we may be processing something this week again. Yeah.
Okay. So COVID differential pay, you guys are behind, and overtime is behind.
Yeah. Okay. So we're not as backlogged as before. We used to be 3 or 4 months, but I think we're only tracking about a month and a half for overtime, or a month, and then about 2 months for COVID pay.
Is it?
And like I explained before, it's just a very tedious, manual intensive. I mean, I'm paying clerks, I'm paying my payroll clerks, and even my records clerk come in after hours to sort through this paperwork to make sure that it's correct before we submit it for payment. But there's a lot that goes, a lot of labor, manual labor goes into paying out differential pay.
Yeah, it's kind of like what I heard. It's just because it's the different levels of exposure and all the other.
And for me, we want to make sure that our paperwork is is complete and straightforward from the get-go, because these are the same documents that we submit to the federal government for reimbursement. Right. So that's making sure that we have this properly documented is the way that we need to do it from the get-go, so that we make sure that we get as much reimbursement from the federal government that we're entitled to under this pandemic.
Yeah. But what would you say, though, to those who might say, but we've been doing this for a year, how could you not have figured it out yet?
Because it's not figuring out, it's just the manual process that it's involved. It's not about figuring out. It's not like, it's not like we're encountering a new problem every other week or every week. It's just the process that's involved. It's really, it's labor intensive, really, to say the least.
Chief, are there going to be any checkpoints this weekend?
None that I'm aware of yet.
Okay.
Yeah. But we've been doing a lot of radar enforcement.
I know. I see.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, we're still out there.
Chief,
what about the fatals? Any updates on the fatals that have been that have happened on island? I remember there was the one in Dededo that occurred. I don't know if we hadn't heard anything about that.
Let me have Sergeant Paul Tapao get updates, and we'll send them to you. I know that we do look into the fatal crashes when they do occur.
Yeah.
And if there's any work that needs to be done, we do it and get it out of the way. Mm-hmm. But I'll ask Sergeant Paul update you because I do know that sometimes we just put it out there and we forget to do a follow up. Mm-hmm. To report back to the community what our findings were.
Sarge, are you finding
speed, alcohol, whatever?
Right, yeah. Right. With the laser enforcement and just with the highway people out and these fatals and accidents, are you finding that maybe people are a little rusty being out here driving with all the traffic that we have now in Peak War 3?
No, I mean, it's actually, I think what they're doing is just part of our federal grant enforcement levels. Yeah, it's tied to the money that we receive to do enforcement.
So you have to do X amount of speed checks.
Right. We have to meet our mandates under our program agreements. Right.
Okay. All right. Okay, guys. So drive safe out there. Right. Thank you, Chief.
Thanks,
All right,
Chief.
Thank you, Chris.
Okay. Good day. Right on. I just got a text from Sergeant Tapao.
What?
Stop calling my boss Sergeant.
You did that twice too. You did it again at the end.
And
fortunately Bree tried to talk and you're like, "Hey, Sergeant," I was like, "Man,
God." I think you better ask him to come on next time.
He's Chief.
All right, it's 9 o'clock.
I was gonna say what if you said, "Sarge, oh, I'm sorry." He's like, "Oh yeah, Andy. So anyway, I have the answer to your
right, yeah, okay.